Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Mauricio and Ian here for episode number nine. Nine already. Fun of our Stockpress episode. And today we have yet another very special topic. We're going to continue the conversation on customer feedback and how businesses can get actionable and take next steps in order to ensure that the business continues to grow and continues to thrive. So how to make customer feedback sort of like central to your business strategy. So Ian, I wanted to start there. Why do you feel that managing and synthesizing customer feedback and customer suggestions is vital for business?
Yeah, well, I think number one is we're here for our customers, and the more we listen and the more we take their feedback on board, the more likely we are to keep our existing customers happy, and B, those customers that we think are going to be like our existing customers, get them happy as well. So I think actually maybe it's just the hidden art of business that seems to be lost a little bit, is that ability to just listen and take it in and actually then kind of think about it and go away and do something with it. And it's funny, I've had a number of conversations over the last week about this, that I think people almost feel guilty about thinking time, in the sense that, like, so many people almost now have tricked themselves into thinking that actually if they're just sat thinking about what they're doing, that's not work. And it's crazy. Like, unless you give yourself time to think about things, you're probably not going to do anything better than you did before. So I think, for me, why it's vital to listen to that, whether it's ideas from your customers, whether it's feedback from your customers, it's like, rather than just act on it straight away, it's sit down and have a think about what they've said. And I think more often than not, and we use this as a benchmark and probably talk about this a little bit more later on, that actually, is it useful to more than one customer? Or could that suggestion be synthesized in a way that actually makes it more valuable to everyone? So I think that's the cerebral bit about managing, synthesizing customer feedback and suggestions, is that it's not just like a call and response type thing. It's about listen, it's about think about it, and then it's about do something with it. And I think the measure of that are then those moments where you go, okay, we got given this feedback. It was something that we talked about. It's something we went away and worked on, and it's something we've brought back into the business, and it's materially made a difference. And I can give you an example of someone I had a conversation with actually at the end of last week. So they'd looked at a number of digital asset management competitors of ours, and fundamentally they were a team of 50 people. And their big concern was they needed people to be able to easily get into the product, understand how it works, and actually find what they needed to do their job. And, they'd been through a pretty lengthy process of trying to kind of understand what was the right platform for them. And about 10 minutes into the demo, the chap on the phone, the call, stopped me, and he said, "I'd just like to say, this is the first demo that I've watched and actually understood what's being done. And actually, more than that, I kind of know what's coming next." And I was like, yeah, that is such incredible feedback, because really that reflects work that we've done to make the platform as intuitive as possible, to strip out as much of the complexity as possible, and give people something that their teams are just able to use and adopt. And why that mattered so much is, we've taken feedback all the way through that, digital asset management can be complex and can be quite overwhelming for people. But the reality is that it shouldn't. And actually taking the time to listen to people, to know that they want a better way of being able to manage their files, and that shouldn't require a PhD to be able to do that. That's massive for us. So yeah, I think that's a live example of, where we've been able to take feedback, ideas, and the general sense of the market, think about it, turn it into something that's useful. But, I think it's almost like a departmental approach. It's like, as a business, we've got to have this mindset. We've got to be cross-functional about what we're hearing and be able to share it into different people. But then you can break it down into those departments. So I guess from your perspective, sales and marketing brain on is like, how do you use that customer feedback and suggestion to enhance the sales and marketing function?
That's a great question. And before I'll try to not dive too deep into the question, because it's a loaded question. I think that, and I love what you're saying there, of like actually listening to your customers, taking some time to think and to process that feedback and those suggestions, and actually acting on them. Because I feel that it's at the end of the day, it's a relationship, right? So if you're like in any relationship and you're having a conversation and the other person is not listening to you, or you're sort of feeling that you're talking to a brick wall, it's really not going to work. So I love what you say about the the feedback component, and actually listening and making your clients part of your product, and of your roadmap, and your growth as well. Because I mean, if the business does well, the client does well. If the client does well, the business does well. So exactly. It's a two-way street. Yeah. And I think, on the sales and marketing front, the customer feedback is incredibly vital, because that way we can, and I thought I have a visitor. He's like right back in my laptop. I thought that he was going to interrupt me. He does this kind of thing when it's a cat, and when the guy needs attention. But he's in the back.
I'm glad you clarified that it was a cat.
Yeah. Back to it. So in terms of the sales and marketing component, I feel that, actually listening to your customers and having those two-way street conversations and suggestions really allows you to have not just a happiness powerhouse, but also like a marketing collateral and a sales engagement powerhouse. What do I mean by that? I mean, you can take these feedback and these suggestions and these conversations, and you can turn them into use cases. You can turn them into case studies, written case studies, video case studies. You could do panel interviews. You could do, Instagram lives, TikToks, LinkedIn lives. You could do a bunch of stuff to have that feedback, that suggestion, that relationship go from, it's a two-way street, but it's indoor, because it's just us two having a conversation, and through a video chat or in person of our experience with your product or service, to something that is broader and like out in the world.
Yeah.
So you can use that to develop trust and develop confidence, not just in that relationship that you've already built, right? And continue building, because you of course need consistent effort, but also in the new relationships that you're striving to build, both from the client side and the business side, right? Because in this day and age, we all, as businesses, we got to remove and break through the noise, right? And the raise or the new age of AI even puts a big challenge into that human component of relationships.
Yeah.
So, sitting down, having a conversation, doing a webinar, doing this, a podcast between two humans, really enhances that experience. And then you can take that, and turn it into marketing collateral. You can use that in your sales conversations to, build confidence with other prospective businesses that are interested in your product, or that you want them, ideally using your product to remove or reduce that barrier of entry, that them having their guard up, and that brick wall being incredibly high, because they don't know you, they don't trust you, they just feel that you're there to sell to them. So that's just like a couple of my comments when I think about customer feedback, their suggestions, and the importance of that element in sales and marketing motions. So with that, how should we be using this client feedback and these suggestions that are continuous to enhance our also continuous product efforts?
Yeah, so again, I'll go back to something I said earlier on, I think the thing for us is it's about being like reflective aggregators. And it's like, what do I mean by that? Well, it's about the fact that we get to speak to lots of different people all the time. And so often they've got very similar challenges. They just don't realize it because they exist in their business and they see the challenge within their business, but they don't think anyone else has the same challenge. And it's almost like, we get the beauty of understanding like this challenge across the spectrum. And when you hear stuff enough times, you can make an assumption that actually, this is a problem for more people than just one. And actually then it's about reflecting that back into everyone else that you talk to. So, you can reflect that one challenge that you've heard over here with decent confidence back into someone else. And then they'll go, yeah, we know that challenge. And they're like, how can we solve for it? And I think that's a big thing for us. Reflective aggregation means then you can go away and understand, well, actually, what could we do here to overcome a challenge that someone's got? One of the examples I'd give for that is we had people trying to organize traditional asset types, photos, videos, logos, but they also had all of these cloud projects they're working on as well. They just had no good way of putting them together. We use Google Docs, we use Google Sheets. The only problem we have with them, as soon as I finish working one and close it, can never find it again. I don't know where it disappears to, don't know why it happens, but it happened. So, the feedback there was actually we want to be able to organize these cloud links and these cloud projects together with those traditional asset types. Okay, great. Let's go away. Let's think about it, work out what we can do, come back with a feature that's useful to everyone, put ourselves in a great position to be able to say, okay, we've taken that bit of feedback. We've been able to go and aggregate that across lots of different conversations and actually get ourselves to a point where with a good degree of confidence, we can go away and say, well, actually, is this the right solution for our customers? And actually, are those customers that helped us get to that feedback going to be delighted when they see this launch and they go, hang on a minute, like we talked about that and all of a sudden they've gone away and done something with it. It's a great feeling. So it's great for the business, it's great for the customer. It makes it feel like all of the stuff you were talking about builds relationships, builds trust, builds that collective spirit, I think is massively important. So I think actually what we've done there is touched on like three really good parts of that is, why is it vital? How can you use it for sales and marketing? How can you use it for product? And I think fundamentally then it's about, well, okay, you've listened. What are those things you can turn it into? And I think maybe one of the things we could dive into more next time is that collateral element. How do you use that feedback to generate materials to help people find you? So I think let's talk about that next time. We are up against the clock, so we need to wrap
this. Great point there. Awesome. I love that topic. Let's dive into that next time. Excuse me. And thank you for everybody for listening in. Catch us up in episode 10 next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.